Hey everybody, I hope you are well. Wanted to go ahead and make a quick video about a question that I get a lot, and that's just how much money you need to buy a home. It's a very good question, and like a lot of good questions, the answer really is it kind of depends on your situation. Now we're going to talk about the average person. I'll talk a little bit about VA and VA and USDA down the road, which are 0% down. But the average person is going to want to have 3 to 3.5% of the home's value just in purchase price, or just as a down payment first. So if it's a $100,000 house that you're going to want to buy, you're going to need to put 3% down first. Now, obviously, there's going to be some other costs associated with it, and that's going to be, the big ones are going to be some of your fees, first off, which are going to be things like your appraisal or your title work. There's credit reports. Usually we try to keep that under $2,000 or $3,000, just depending on the size of the loan, obviously, but usually try to keep that low. And then there are what's called escrows. Now, escrows aren't actually a fee, but what they are is essentially when you pay your taxes and insurance, rather than paying them as a sum every year like they're due, because they're due twice for taxes and once for insurance, we actually collect a year of both up front so that way you never have to worry about paying them yourself. Now, some people decide to do what's called a waiver, and they don't actually pay that out of the same way, but most people are going to bring that up to the table. So you're going to want to probably expect total about another 3% total in costs. So probably about 6% of the house is a good way to think about it. Now, when it comes to the fees and the escrows, anything except for the down payment, we actually have a couple ways that you can deal with that. You can actually cover your escrows and fees by, one, having a slightly higher rate, so that might help you cover some of that. Like, let's say there's $1,000 that you're short, take a slightly higher rate, and then you'll get an extra $1,000 off your closing costs. Or, this is the way that I'd prefer and why it's a good reason to have a decent realtor, you want to actually have the seller pay for it sometimes, because depending on the type of loan, they can pay anywhere from 2 to 6% of it in your closing costs to get that paid for you. Now, like I said, 3% is going to be the minimum for conventional, and it's 3.5% for FHA, so I try to keep you guys in conventional, so it's a little bit cheaper. Now, I did say there are a couple other options as far as zero down, mostly for what's called VA or USDA. Now, VA, I think that's pretty obvious. If you're a veteran, you can finance up to 100% of your home's value, and then you are able to get 6% of your costs paid for by the seller if you want. Now, USDA, that's actually a special program that is meant to help low to moderate income people in what we call a rural area. Now, I would say it's a very loose definition of rural, but you could potentially qualify for 100% financing on a modest home in a rural area and then get 6% of the seller paying for it. Now, that's not always or not super common, but it's a very nice option, especially up north, northern Michigan. So yeah, this is Levi, Gourdie with Fieldstone First Mortgage. I want to give you a basic idea of what to expect when you're trying to purchase a home in terms of what you need to bring to the table and how much you're going to need. Now, obviously, it's going to depend on the size of the home, the size of your loan, and where you're buying at. So for any more specifics, go ahead, shoot me a message. Let me know if you need anything else. You have a wonderful day.